Today we're going to be talking about that scary moment when you leave your kid alone for the first time. For me personally, it was traumatizing, and if you're anything like me, drop it in the comments below. But my question for you today is, are you raising your kids to be safe or scared?
Welcome to the Playdate, where real parents, trusted experts, and a little bit of laughter come together to help us raise happier children. One day, every parent has to do it. Leave their child home alone for the very first time. It's a moment filled with freedom for them and worry for us. So we asked parents across Africa, what was the very first illegal thing you did the second your parents left you home alone for the very first time? And would you let your kids do it? Let's listen to their stories.
My parents wouldn't find out. I mixed all alcohol together till I made like a whole glass full of just mixed concoctions of pure hard liquor. Anyways, would not recommend.
I did nothing illegal. In fact, I was used to being left at home, so I can't even remember the first time. It was the norm. It was just simple. Make sure you do the chores before they come back.
Climbing on that big vase, my mom told me not to climb, and not it breaking the first time I climbed it.
I went partying all night. I'm gonna allow my kids to do that. Ha 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 ha. No. I can't even allow them out of my sight.
Well, I had a habit of operating on lizards. I would get a lot of lizards and tie them up and rip their gut out and try to inspect, what they had in them. I used to do this with bare hands.
So when I was young, I would go into my mom's bedroom and I would steal her makeup, a specific palette of eyeshadow that I depleted that thing. Now, I don't want my child to even try and play about putting on my shoes or playing with makeup. I'm coming up with all types of excuses about her skin and how she should preserve it and all of that stuff because I'm trying to keep her a baby. I'm freaking out that she wants to play the same way that I did, but I guess it's part of life.
You are second to babies. You are second to babies.
Today we are talking about independence and safety. But before we begin, I'd love for you all to introduce yourselves, maybe share what your names are, what it is you do, how many kids you have, and then we can just get into it.
My name is Victor Bado. I am a mother to two kids, a boy and a girl, age 10 and 5, and I'm an advocate in training.
My name is Nyambura, or Mama Mali. I have one girl who is 2 years. I just turned 2 years in April, and I'm a professional program manager.
Amazing. Mali like Bob Marley or Mali like M-A-L-I?
Mali actually M-A-L-Y.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Daniel Oreng is my name, popularly known as D-Man. That's the nickname I go by.
Okay.
I'm a father of 5. Same mother.
Thanks for that clarification.
Yeah, God has blessed me with 4 boys, 1 girl. The girl is in the middle. So I had 2 boys, a girl, then I got 2 boys. I'm in the advertising business. I run my own company, and I'm also a mental health coach.
Amazing.
Yeah.
To introduce myself, my name is Tatiana Karanja, also known as Mama Olive. I'm also a mom of 3. I also have a Mali. That's why I was asking if it's Mali, like Bob Mali. Yeah. And they are 9, 7, and 3. I'm a social media content creator, a photographer, and now a host for Ubongo. Thank you. Nice to meet you all.
Yeah.
I guess I will start off by saying independence. What does independence look like to you? Because for me, I felt that growing up in this society, at least, we rush kids to be very independent very quickly. And I don't know if that's just my own perception, but it's like by 2 they must be doing this, and if you're not allowing them to do this, they're not going to be independent later on. And my perspective on that really is they become independent once they know where their safe space is, once they know they feel nurtured, they feel loved, they feel supported. That's when the independence grows, but that's just my perspective. So maybe we'll start there. What does independence look like for you?
I think for me, independence is not being controlling. And I think it's a very personal journey for me because of the way I grew up. And I feel like when I look back at all the years that I have, at least I can remember, I feel like a lot of the things and the choices I've made, everything has been very controlled. And so I think for me, even for my child who is now 2, it's about like being very intentional in not controlling because it can be hard. but really just, letting them be, letting them explore. Not easy, but really just letting them, just figure themselves out every day in whatever situations they face.
I feel there are many things about me that were not allowed to thrive.
Right.
For example, sports. The parents of then didn't see the value, they didn't understand it. I wouldn't say all, but I can say a majority. So that really played a role into some of the things that I did later that sort of slowed down who I could become.
Right. Wow.
I'll just say this, I'm also in recovery from alcoholism. So I see many things that contributed to that. So what I do with my children now is I have taken off the pressure to let them be. In the sense that if one of my sons, like my fourth born, if he's not speaking as fluently as his older sister, I understand that that's his journey.
Right.
All right? I don't let that make me express disappointment, which he will feel subconsciously.
Right.
So I let them be. But at the same time, when I talk to the teachers tell me that boy is very bright. So I know there's something else that is winning and there's something else that is a bit slow. So for me, I've come to understand that we need to let, even some of our children, we don't know them. It's good to study them, let them be, so they can become all they can be.
Right.
And I told the mom, stop telling your son, you want to become a doctor. That's not independence.
Right.
Let him, because I, for a long time, used to hear my mom say, I have a banker in my house. So I ended up doing courses that really don't align with who I truly am. So I was not independent to choose some of the things that I've done in university.
Right.
So I think it's good to just let children be, and parents need to just watch, learn, observe.
Right.
Okay? Not with fear, but from a point of just clarity and understanding.
Yeah.
Because through that, you're able to see what truly is in that child.
The common theme here is just, let your kids explore, let them be who they are. I really like your point also of not judging one child because of another child's, and I think that's also very important. Like you said, I have 3. They're all very different. I can't start comparing the 3. And like you're saying, just allowing them to explore. If they don't explore, they'll never learn.
Yes.
And so I really love that. And then you said that, I love the fact that you said that you like them, let them be creative. So actually one of my next questions was, what is a creative mess that they've made that you thought to yourself, I trusted you too much. I trusted you too much to make your own decisions, Yeah.
My son loves chapati. So every time I make, he's always there with me. He's been there with me saying, okay, this is what you do. This is how the bowl, I usually like it clean. Like you're done with the dough, so I like it clean. So one day he decides, since mom is not around, I can, let me make chapati. I feel like eating chapati. So he goes into the kitchen, takes the flour, pours into a bowl, like just everything I do. So he eventually made it. But then again, on coming back, I'm like, are you seeing the mess? Now I started reminding him, like, are you seeing the waste? You're thinking of the wastage. Maybe he actually put too much oil, but anyway. Yes. The end result was he actually made something he loved out of seeing what I do.
Right.
So I told him, next time I'll be there to guide you. I'll not walk away. So next time, wait for me to come so that now we can do it together.
Right.
Yeah.
I love how, in this generation or, the kids that are coming, we are not getting angry. Okay, you reprimanded him, but it's not like before where people could just be beaten for the sake. And, they're just experiment. And they're doing the best of their ability, and that's the only way they'll learn. They'll know now it's poured. Okay, next time, don't do this because I'll be able to pour it properly next time. Yeah. So I think that's a brilliant way of raising kids. I also have the same messes in the kitchen every time we're cooking and baking. I'm always like, why did I decide that this would be a good idea? But somehow they love it, and this is how they learn. And then,
And I think you have to be very intentional, not to
snap.
You have to be very aware in those situations, because we're human, and depending again on how you were raised and things that you see other parents do, like it can easily turn into that moment of anger.
Right.
And you just have to be very aware around your children, because it could actually become a very negative experience.
Exactly.
For them.
Yeah.
I think the safety word there is I mean, we're prone to always snap,
Yeah.
but we should apply the humility many parents didn't have of saying, I'm sorry.
Yeah. Amen. Yes. Yes.
We always have that as a plan
Yes.
B, you know,
Yeah.
because snapping is inevitable. And I'm a neat freak.
Oh, that doesn't work well. 5 kids and a neat freak.
So you can imagine all the time.
And boys.
Yeah, boys. Yeah.
You can imagine all the time the mom is always like, especially with the youngest, like, that's sensory play. Let him be.
Yeah.
So for me, what is annoying me is that I have to clean up afterwards, you know, and I'm tired. I had a long day.
Yeah.
I can't sit and there's water on the floor. You know, the mom is okay.
Yeah.
It's like, it'll be cleaned later. Yeah. But I can't. You know? So, and I think when you already know children are prone to making mistakes, that mentality also hinders you from allowing them to go and try and do something.
Exactly. Yeah.
So my sons recently have seen, because I've been teaching them, be helpful. Okay, be helpful. And children really want to help.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
But then when they want to help you, also putting obstacles on their way.
Right.
So
everything becomes harder.
it becomes
when they're
harder,
helping.
yes.
Yeah.
So my son, they want to come wash the dishes, they want to come and mop the kitchen. And I'm like, oh my God. So I'm going to end up mopping again.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I've had to learn to let them be. And after 2-3 attempts, the other day, I saw them doing things in the kitchen, because the last time they made a mess, but they really tried. You know, you have to be very intentional to see the effort.
Yeah.
Until recently they did it and I was like, wow,
Yeah.
this is a wrap for me.
Yeah.
I'm not coming back to this kitchen to wash dishes. So I think that intentionality of just allowing your children to make the mistakes
Yeah.
and knowing that through that you as a parent will have to put in work, whether you're tired or not.
Yeah. Just the same way you put your best foot forward for work and your colleagues, and you're always going to be your best behavior. The kids deserve the same kind of, would you call it respect? The same kind of interaction.
Yeah.
You get home, you're tired, but you know what? These are your kids you decided to have, you're tired, but you need to put your best foot forward.
Yeah.
Which is hard, again, like you're saying.
Yes.
You spend the whole day working, you've been interacting with, I don't know, XYZ, they're making a mess even though they're trying to help, and it's just like overstimulation, overwhelm, it's a lot.
Yeah.
And you know, we have a default setting based on how we were raised.
Yeah.
So that's where a lot of work is.
Yeah.
Unlearning what you learned.
And learning it, you know. And at times, whenever I'm trying to correct my son, I'm very intentional about looking at how he's reacting. So each time I see his head going down, I know I'm not doing something right. You know, at the time you think you're articulating it well, you think you're making sense,
Right.
but he's hearing maybe a tone, and that's the tone you received growing up.
Yeah.
So now you have to sit down, or at times say, you know what, I'm not going to correct now. Let me let it slide. Then maybe later
We talk.
can have a conversation,
Right.
which is work in itself.
That is actually one of the biggest pieces of advice I got from a parent coach who I love very much, Dr. Carol. I was seeing her for a while also to just help me unlearn some of the things that I learned growing up. And that was one of the things. You do not have to make corrections immediately. I feel like we feel as parents, the mistake is made now, you must be reprimanded right now.
Yeah.
But then, you don't have the time to decompress and actually come from a place of, okay, let's talk through it. Why did you do what you did? Let me help you through. Next time, this is what you can do. You don't even have that capacity because you're just angry, seeing red. So I think that's a really good piece of advice. What is one of the things that your kids are ready to be independent on, or they're ready for, but you are not ready yet to let them be independent? Is there a situation like that in your home?
I mean, it's gadgets.
Gadgets. Right.
It's gadgets. Obviously, there's a huge conversation around when is it necessary.
What we
A
allow.
lot of content online showing what it does. Children of nowadays are not proving to be cognitively articulate or smart as compared, because we're always expecting them to be smarter than we were.
Right.
But now there's been a deep, and they're looking at it based on these gadgets.
Right.
So, my kids always are requesting for these things. And I like there's a video I watched recently, and the gentleman said that these gadgets that are being made and being issued in schools, they were not designed to educate. Ideally, the way they were designed and the applications that are also being made
Right.
have an addictive nature.
Right.
It's not to help you learn.
Right.
They said maybe we need to change that. So I realized that you have to also sort of let them have it, but with rules.
Amen. Yeah.
I think for me, so I live in which is very rare by the way in Nairobi. I live in a place where kids love being outdoors, especially on school holidays. They're outdoors until 7, 8 p.m.
Wow.
And they're outside by 7, and it's a thing. And so my daughter as well loves being outdoors. Like she will wake up and like immediately like we'll go to the window and just start saying, I want to go outside, and starts calling her friends, and she just wants to go. Now because we live in an apartment, there's no way I will let her go by herself. And so like, of course, like I'm scared of the stairs. Like, what if something happens? What if she trips? And it's been such a battle for me. And she's only 2. Of like, I need to make sure that she goes with someone. And so if I'm working, she has to go with her nanny. And if her nanny has to finish her chores before they go, like it actually just extends the time that she actually has to spend indoors waiting for us to be ready to take her.
Right.
Which is frustrating because then she's seeing like at 7 a.m. like the older kids, 3-year-olds, 4-year-olds are outside, they're by themselves. And I'm like, no, you can't go by yourself. And I think just recently we were like, okay, you know what is the worst that will happen? Because like it's a very controlled, community, like even if she goes outside. And so the other day, my nanny came back and told me, oh, you know what? Mali's now going outside. Like I've taught her how to go outdoors, but then when she goes on the stairs, she sits and she will not start. And so that gives me a bit of, comfort.
Yeah.
But I think that's one of the things I've been finding really hard to give her that freedom of, you know what, you can go outside by yourself. I'm like, but what if something happens to you? Maybe you go run over, But it's just
those things always play.
Yeah.
And I think it doesn't end. I don't know how old your kids are, but like for me, it doesn't. Even my 9-year-old, I'm always playing things on. Something can happen. What if she gets hit? What if she? It's never ending. I think that's the hardest part of parenting for me.
Yeah.
My firstborn is so scared of a lot of things. She's scared of heights. She's the most fearful, and my second and third are the most brave. And I think that was because of how I parented them. So it's also something that I think I keep with me, the fact that I raise a scared child. I don't know if that makes sense, but hopefully when she gets older.
But fear is learned. We have to be very careful that we don't teach our children fear, because honestly, in this life, we have to be bold.
Yeah.
If you're getting into business, you have to be bold. There's a lot of risk.
Right.
So we have to sort of also, I think this parenting is this also character development.
Amen.
We have to really learn. I was telling my sisters here a story of this lady who has a son who is battling with addiction, and she said she would not pay for him driving lessons. And I understood why. But either way, the guy has gotten access to the bikes he wants to ride, and he has already been riding them. So I said, is there anything really you're hindering him from doing? It's just you, You need to let him be, because there's so much already going on that you're not aware of.
Right.
But the God who created him is also concerned and taking care of that. So I think we need to be very careful, because we can end up teaching our children fear.
100%. It's hard. You just learn on the go. So hopefully there's a new parent watching this and taking this into account. Like, this is something I wish I could have done differently. Not showing my first child anything. I was not scared of anything, So if roles were reversed and your kids were now the adults, what is one thing that they'd want you to be independent for that you'd fail at?
Not giving them the independence.
Okay, that's a good one. Yeah.
Not giving them the independence, because I think I come from that point where you're feeling okay. Like you said, your firstborn is fearful, scared. So I think that is what has happened with my firstborn, because you're the first child, so you want to protect them. They don't have the freedom to do things the way they'd want. You're not allowing them that creativity space. So anytime they want to do something, they're will mom agree? What is mom thinking about this? What will she tell me? Will she shout? Okay, because I think I need to call myself for a meeting and then just learn how to not make them fear in terms of they can come to me for anything. And then just allowing them to be.
Okay.
Allowing them to be themselves. Yeah.
We worry so much, but they also know. I don't know if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Like, for example,
They pick up on
they know what is, like, what makes sense, what's dangerous, what's, because, I mean, they have, they're smart. And I think, for sure, like, my daughter will probably just tell me, just leave me alone. I know what I'm doing for the most part.
Right.
Because I'm like, okay, if I have to go downstairs, I'm going to sit on the stairs and I'm going to get there. If it's, going to the kitchen, like, I think it would be worrying, like, just stop worrying too much.
Yeah.
Like, and it's okay to, if I get hurt, I'll cry and we'll deal with it. And
Right. But allow me to do it.
Yeah, allow them to do it. Yeah, allow me to do it. Yeah.
One thing I've noticed is, and I read something the other day that really, really spoke to me. Some children have traits that you love. Traits maybe that are like you.
Right.
Masculine, like my second-born son sounds like me. And my firstborn is soft-spoken, timid. So for a very long time, I was trying to make him to be like me. Stop it. Why are you talking like that? Look up, And when I think about it now, I realize even as I grew up, my elder brother, my dad used to look at him the same way, because he was also soft. He used to be a hugger. So my dad would be like, what nonsense is this?
Right.
He needs to become a man. And there's nothing wrong with that.
Right.
So I think one of the things that I am doing now is embracing all uncomfortable traits that I see in a child, knowing that they're only uncomfortable to me, but there's something beautiful about it.
Right.
There's something. So I always go like, so nowadays when my son asks him something and he responds in a tender voice, I support it. I support it. I let him be.
Right.
Because I might suppress something that would bring out a character in him that is awesome.
Right.
Or I might even create some sibling rivalry because there's favoritism. So I think that's one thing that I'm conscious of, that in children you might see traits you love because they are yours. And then you might see other traits you don't like, but you have to learn to embrace them because those traits are them.
Yeah.
And that child is not a product of you alone.
Right.
Product of two people. And that combination that has been put there is right for them to become who they need to become.
Amen.
If you alter that, they'll end up they'll lack that independence and become something they're not. And these are the things that later on in life, find somebody dealing with a lot of mental health disorders, people pleasing, just a lot of depression.
Right.
But it's simply because they couldn't be who they needed to be when they were young.
Right.
So I'm conscious about that.
What are some of the things that they used to tell you? Some of the things that they're, they used to raise you about, like some things about independence that they tried to teach you, which you now think, that wasn't, I don't think that was the way to go. I don't think that advice was actually accurate. Or some of the things that used to scare you into, behaving well, becoming more independent. Like, what are some of those?
Oh, for a very long time, I've always tried to live up to my dad's expectations, and not being able to match that in itself is what caused me to have other challenges later on.
Right.
Yeah, so it's I think for me it's the little things, and especially because my child is 2 and I don't have the many experiences yet.
This time.
Yeah. I think for me it's the little things that we tell kids to scare them. Maybe to eat, like, I'm going to call the police if you don't eat. I'm like, why?
Yeah, exactly.
Right?
Yeah.
Like, why would I call the police? Like, and that used to happen a lot. Like, I've seen even older parents, like, being a bit aggressive and saying, if you if you don't do X, this X will happen to you. And maybe the thing you're referencing is like this, you start to have a negative connotation to that thing. I'm like, I want to love the police. I want to know the police is there
To help me.
not something they should be scared about. Because if something happens to me on the street, like, I want my kid to be able to run up to the police and say, oh yeah, but like, if it's you're told things to scare you, or even like animals, right? Like spiders, like doo-doo, I'm like, oh, eat. I'm like, if you don't want to eat, don't eat.
Yeah.
You'll eat when you want, So I think those things, and they used to happen a lot, I think, with the African, like the African context where there's always something that you're told
to scare you
into something.
Yeah.
And I'm like, you actually don't need to force people to do things.
Yeah.
We can actually have a conversation or just let it be.
And it's not helpful. And you're saying it used to. I think it still happens so much because like, even doctors, for example, you want mom to inject you. I'm like, now, why would you make them scared?
Yeah.
It's already scary enough. Why would you say that? Yeah. You want mom to no, like, let's stop talking like that. We just have a comment. I want them to come to hospital without having the fear that this is what's going to happen. So, and it's still, it happens all everywhere I go, a pharmacy, a hospital, anywhere I go, somebody's trying to scare my kids into behaving well, or whatever it might be. And that to me is like, personally, I'm raising my children. I don't know why you're I don't even know why you're saying this, but why are you trying to scare kids into behaving a certain way? Yeah, I don't like that either.
I think I was just left to be myself, to just grow. Like, I didn't have those two scary moments of comparison or anything, because there's an age gap, a big, like a 10-year gap between me and the firstborn. But I think we were let to be. So I think the only time maybe you'd hear parents speak was maybe they're seeing you're not going in the right direction, so they try and bring you back. And most of the time it was because of masomo studies. But generally, I think I had a good experience.
That's amazing. I love that for you. I think this discussion is one that can go on for some time. Like, there's so many things that we can discuss about independence and safety around kids, and I really appreciate all your different perspectives on this. There's definitely things that I also will have picked now that I can also take home to start doing with my girls. So I just want to say thank you so much. Unfortunately, with the time is up now, but hopefully we can have a discussion at a later date, and I'm really appreciative you've come. Thank you so much. If you have one parting take for a new parent before we end this, what would your advice be around independence and safety?
I would say just let your kids be. Don't project your fears on them. Be intentional.
Don't overthink.
When you get a moment to be vulnerable about your own experience, share it, be honest, and always have sorry next to you. So always say sorry, so that they can also learn the value of saying it themselves.
Right. Amen. Wow. Amazing. Thank you so much for being here today. And we'll see you soon.
Thanks for having us.
Before we go, let's talk about something bigger. Right now, millions of children across Africa don't have access to the kind of learning we've talked about today. At Ubongo, we're on a mission to reach 100 million children for fun, localized learning that actually works. But we can't do it alone. If you believe every child deserves a chance to grow, learn, and thrive, support us by donating at ubongo.org. Let's build the future together.
You are safe in the biggest.
Today we're joined by Dr. Carol, who is a counseling psychologist and who's personally been my parent coach for the past almost 4 years. So I'm really excited to have you here, and maybe you can share a little bit more about who you are, what you do, STAWI, all of that. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. It's such an honor to be here. My name is Dr. Carol Chakua. I am the founder of STAWI Camp for Wellbeing, and what we do there is it's like a resource hub for family well-being.
Right.
So we have parenting programs, we have programs for kids that just help to build resilience all around, and mostly our focus is on the family and what the ecosystem of the family. So school, church, community, to just help improve well-being and build general resilience all around.
Right.
Yes.
Okay, and I guess just to get us started, is there something that you've heard from a different parenting situation, or maybe your own, that a child has done that has completely floored you, that you just have left you like, I don't, yeah.
Which one do I pick?
Not mine.
I'll pick mine. Let me pick mine. Which is very common. I think in this age of technology and use of screens, it's how kids can get around the controls.
Right.
And even as young as 6 years, 7 years, 8 years, they can actually get around the parental controls that we are so intent on keeping. And they are so creative. I mean, I've seen those who put they'll even put an app for a calculator, but when you click, it's something else.
Wow,
yes,
really?
Yes, and then also
I need to know this.
You do? Oh my gosh, you do need to know
I don't know that yet. Okay, good.
Yeah, you see those apps on the screen, some are hiding, and of course that's probably for the older kids, but even the younger ones, they do know how to get around through the parental controls, and that happened to me. I mean, I was very seriously putting up parental control with my son, and I knew we had gotten through it, and I used to get all those notifications, that this is where he's gone, this is where he's gone, and the good thing is that because I'm in this space, I know that parental controls is not the only thing that you do. So we were having conversations and all that. So even as I was weaning him away from the parental controls, he didn't tell me a thing.
Right.
And then 3 years down the line, he's like, Mom, do you remember when you put this and that? Yeah, well, you know what? I found a way around it.
Wow.
Yeah,
At least he was honest about it. That's amazing.
Yes, he did. Yeah. Well, he told me
3 years.
Down
I
the
mean,
line.
my dad still has things to tell his dad, and I know that for a fact. So
yeah, but in this day and age, we think we got it, we think we've got them, but we just have to really be on the lookout. Yeah.
Right. And as a parent coach, could you maybe explain a little bit more about what that looks like? Because I think it's something that's new in Kenya, or correct me if I'm wrong. I think that's something that's new. It's definitely a tool that I use to help me navigate parenting. Especially when it was at a time when it was very difficult in my life, and it was so useful to me. And I just wish that more people knew that there were different there's different help available to you. Should that be therapy? Should that be parent coaching? Whatever it might be. I wish more people knew about this approach.
Yeah.
So maybe you can share more of what that looks like.
The parent coach?
Yeah, the parent coaching.
Yes, I think for me, and I usually say parent coaching means different things to different people, but for me it's to really just be able to support parents. First of all, learn about themselves.
Right.
We are coming into parenting with a lot of our own experiences, and all we know is what was given to us, but also we come into it, for the most part, we know what we don't want to do. We don't want to yell, we don't want to, use the threats and all that.
Right.
We know a lot more about what we need, we do not want to do, but we do not really know what we should do, and especially the how. So being able to just, first of all, help a parent to focus on what am I carrying into this space as a parent, and then give them the actual practical tools to be able to handle the different situations that they get into in parenting.
Right.
And more than anything, also to help them understand the kind of the environment they need to create for their children to learn, whether it's agency, whether it's independence, whether it's a sense of responsibility, to really know it's not about the one thing that I do, but how do I, in the long term, over a long period of time, provide that environment for a child to learn.
Right.
So that's what, for me, coaching is about. Focusing on yourself, focusing on the environment, and focusing on what this child really needs. And each child is unique. Yeah.
I think that's definitely something that one of the biggest lessons I took from our parent coaching sessions, that nothing has to be fixed or done immediately, and parenting is always about the ongoing conversations, the ongoing work that you're putting in. And then I think you also inspired me when you were like, you see, my son I think he was 16 at the time.
Yeah.
My son is 16, and I used to go through this, through his whole life, and now I'm seeing the fruits of my labor, and that made me feel really good, or hopeful that whatever work I'm putting in now, I might not be seeing right now, but a few years down the line, I'll be so grateful for the kind of parenting approach I took, and then seeing that behavior, shine when they're a little bit older, maybe.
Yeah.
So I think that was
Absolutely. And probably that's going to be the theme of the conversation today is what I keep telling parents is you don't judge your parenting by what you're seeing today.
Right.
By the pushback, by the trying to get around the apps and all that. It's going to be so sad if you judge yourself as a parent by what you're seeing today. But you still need to judge yourself about something. And what you judge yourself is, what am I putting in today? What are the seeds that I'm sowing today?
Right.
How am I cultivating the relationship today? Because then that gives you the confidence. Because we are dealing with human beings, not pieces of furniture, who are perfect and all that. So let's focus more on what we are sowing, focus more on what we are doing today.
Right.
Yeah, and build confidence around that.
Yeah. And going back to resilience, as and safety, why is it that kids learn safety from experiencing something themselves rather than you telling them how to be safe?
I think it's not just safety. It's everything. Yeah, it's everything. We learn by doing. And even as adults, we learn by doing, but even more so with children. It's only through experience. And, they say it's very common. It's just, we say it's even a cliche. Experience is the best teacher.
Right.
It really is the best teacher, And so we can't focus on telling kids, do this, do that, if we are not showing them how to do it, if we are not modeling how it is done, if we are not allowing them to actually make those mistakes.
Right.
Because, again, we come into this space, you are, in your late 20s, mid-30s, whatever age you are as a parent, you're coming into this space of parenting in retrospect. So you're like, you should know this, you should know that, you should know that, but you're forgetting that this is a child whose brain is still under development. And a lot of the things that we expect our children to do, problem solving, decision making, thinking through, being empathetic, all those, including the agency and the responsibility and the resilience we are trying to build, the part of the brain that is responsible for that, it really is very much dependent on the environment we create to develop that part of the brain.
Right.
And so we can't just come in thinking this is how you should be by telling them.
Right.
But it's through exposing them to the experiences that now we build the muscle for those things that we really desire for them.
Yeah, sometimes it's hard as a parent when you're raising them, but you think they should know better, and especially at certain ages. And an example for me was something to do within the car. And I know that everything's an ongoing conversation, but sometimes I think something is so obvious to you as a parent that you forget that they're still kids and they're still learning, despite the different ages that they're at. So sometimes I find myself getting really frustrated with the kids about something that I know. And of course they don't know, but in my head it's like, this is just such an obvious thing, you should know this. And I forget to actually help guide the kids through certain situations. And I think, And
when you think about it, if whatever you learn in grade 1 or year 1, you learn it in year 6, but just at a upgraded level.
Right.
And so we get so frustrated, like you're saying. It's understandable. You're like, I taught you this. Why do I have to repeat? Look, repeat for as many times as you need to.
Right.
Because we say in parenting space, it's about creating that environment for a child to learn. And learning is a process. And it requires a lot of repeating and repeating. So a lot of grace for the parents, because you know what? You just want to be able to teach one thing and move on. But also a lot of grace for the children, because they're still developing.
They're new to this world. Sometimes I actually think about the fact that, for example, Nova, she's literally just been on this earth 3 years. That is crazy to me.
Right. And that big personality.
Yeah,
only
with that,
3 years.
exactly. I mean, and then she says things that I think a 10-year-old would say. And I'm like, how are we here? But
and then you get stuck there.
Exactly.
That she knows a lot.
Exactly.
Yeah, so because she knows this, then she should know this. And why isn't she doing this?
Right.
Yeah, so it's just really learning to manage those expectations.
Actually, that's such a good point. Sorry, Doctor. Yeah, because they're so mature sometimes that you're like, well, clearly you're bigger than you.
Yeah.
Wow, okay.
Yeah.
That's
so you expect with that maturity, they should be knowing other things.
Yeah. That's a really good point. Something I need to go and think about at home. But I guess what I want to ask is, what have you seen, or some of the biggest things that you've seen children actually teach their parents?
Ooh. Patience. Patience.
That's the biggest thing I've learned for
patience. You know, just stepping back and being patient and watching, and especially when you watch the progression from when they were young and all that, if you are able to go back to they've actually learned something, you know, so that you give them, again, a lot of grace. But I think one of the things that children teach their parents a lot is patience. Number 2 is authenticity. Because they'll call you out, and especially this generation.
Right.
They'll call you out. And you can't just make up stuff as you go, thinking that they won't call you out.
Right.
Because this is a generation that says, make it make sense.
Amen. Yeah.
You know?
So true, yeah.
They look at you, they're like, make it make sense. And I'm like, okay, I don't know how else to explain this, but you know, there are things that make sense to you.
Right.
And you're like, yeah, but it makes sense to me. But we haven't learned how to communicate that which makes sense to us, to the children. Because the easiest answer is, because I say it so. Another answer is, because I have more experience than you.
Right.
Well, yeah, those are good answers, but they're just not flying with this generation.
Absolutely.
Of children.
There's nothing like that.
Yeah.
The amount of times I've said, because I said so, and they're like, no, but why?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And I think it's okay to say, you know what? And I tell my son that I haven't figured the answer yet. To be honest, there's just something inside of me that tells me, and it's hard for me to articulate to you right now, I haven't figured out the answer. So let's just work together as I figure out the answer that will make sense to you.
Right. Yeah.
But then there's also that place where sometimes you tell them it does not have to make sense to you all the time, because the way you're seeing it will always be different from the way I see it.
Yeah.
So humility as well, patience, humility, and authenticity as well. So those are, and you know, those are inner lessons.
Yeah.
Those are not lessons that make us comfortable.
Right. Yeah. A lot of parenting for me is actually very uncomfortable, and you just have to learn to get over that uncomfortability, and then and I think one of the biggest things as well is not just tell them something random just because for the sake of like we want to get over this conversation, because also they're going to believe what you said in that moment, and that's what they're going to carry for the rest of their life. They remember everything you say.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah.
And especially the things that are not congruent, like this does not add up with this.
Right.
Then it leaves them also beginning to doubt themselves as well. They're like, did I not hear right? Can I really trust
my mom?
My mom, can I really trust my parent? But even as we are saying these stats, let's also not aim for perfection.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
I always say, again, as part of parent coaching, we are not saying these things so that now we think, now I have to do it perfect. I have to do it right. There's always time for repair, which is conversations we've had before about repair, and just going back and saying, you know what, I should have thought of that differently, or I should have done things differently.
Can we actually talk a little bit more on repair? Because I think that's also something, like the previous conversation I had, I was so happy to hear some of the parents talk about it's really important to say sorry, to, go and have those conversations afterwards when you feel like you've done something wrong as a parent. And growing up for me, there was no such thing. My mom saying sorry to me. I mean, now, don't get me wrong, I love my mom. We have a great relationship. We talk about things from the past. But there was nothing like that. Even my shosho or my oma, there's no such thing as them apologizing for anything. And I think that's also something that I learned with you. When I make a mistake, I can go and repair. And that also gave me such a relief as a parent, because you feel guilty about so many things. You go to bed thinking about all the things you didn't do and all the things you did wrong and all this stuff, and just being able to have those conversations with my kids. Firstly, mums, parents, adults make mistakes, and it's good to apologize when we make mistakes, and even me apologizing to them makes them more aware of how they should also behave in the world. It just also makes me, it makes me feel better knowing that I can, sometimes my kids also tell me it's not okay. And that is hard. Firstly, it's really hard for me to go and apologize because I didn't get that. So that already is very hard. But then for them to just say, no, I don't accept it, it's also really tough as a parent to take that on board. But also it's their right to not accept the apology.
It is.
So I think maybe we can touch more on, what does repair look like and why is that important?
Repair looks exactly how you have described it, being able to step back and look and be like, I should have done something differently, and saying I'm sorry, and of course, please and thank you also come in there, but a lot of the I'm sorry and apologizing, and for me, it's not just saying I'm sorry. Again, we say I'm sorry if, If I'm sorry.
I'm sorry, but you made me angry.
Yeah. And that's a communication skill, not just with children that we need to develop, even with others, but with children more so, because they are we have authority over them, and authority and apologizing does not align in our society. I'd rather die than apologize. Or resign. So I think being able to step back. When I work with parents, I help them lace their apologies and their repair with a lot of self-compassion. First of all, you have to have a conversation with yourself. Before you go and say, I am sorry, have a conversation with yourself. Figure out, where did this come from, where you're coming from. Maybe you need skills, maybe you were just in a bad mood, maybe a lot was going on with you. Have that conversation with yourself. And make sure that you really give yourself compassion for where you are. Where you need to tell yourself what I need to do different. You tell yourself, have all that. So that when you go to your kids, you're going with a lot more compassion for yourself, and also with an explanation. You know what? Mommy was really, really tired that day. But that doesn't make it okay. But this is how mommy reacted. And mommy is sorry. Or daddy should have said this differently. So beyond just saying, I'm sorry, we are not saying I'm sorry if, I'm sorry but we are also asking what was going on with me, and am I giving myself a lot more compassion when I'm having that conversation? And like you have said, when we do that, we are also teaching them in conflict resolution how to have better relationships also when they mess up. Because we'll mess up.
What is one of the biggest things that I think you see as a parent coach from parents? Like, one of the biggest issues that parents have when coming to you for their problems?
Unfortunately, parents come when they have a crisis. Okay, and so usually when they come, it's more, I have this crisis and I need it fixed. Which, to be honest, because I've been in this space with parent coaching maybe about 10 years, it's getting better. And I'm actually seeing parents come when there's no crisis. But mostly is when there is a crisis, and it will be either, maybe separation, divorce, how do we manage this space, or not even how do we manage. Most of them are, we've already blown it. How do we
fix it?
Another one is really just teenagers pushing back, struggling with mental health issues, especially struggling with problematic discipline issues in school, and therefore they are required to see somebody. And because I double up as a coach and a therapist, I'm able to do both, support the parent and support the child, both looking at both. So I think the need to fix and make the problem go away is one of the biggest challenges when it comes to coaching and therapy as well. And just inviting a parent to step back and to just have a lot of compassion for the situation, for where you have come, knowing that it has taken time to get to where you are, and knowing that it will take time to begin to unravel, and knowing that life can still go on even in the midst of the crisis. The way we were talking about being comfortable with discomfort. Can I still be comfortable with this situation not changing now? That is one of the most powerful tools of resilience, actually, not just for adults and children, for kids as well. Just learning to be comfortable when things are not okay, and still pushing through, still being able to do other things. Like we were just talking about it earlier with you, Tats, today, that sometimes just if I'm going through a crisis, I want everything else to stop so that I can deal with this crisis. But life has to go on. Life is calling you, is expecting you to do a lot of things. I think just being able to, as a coach, to work with parents to be comfortable in that space. And in that sense, then they're able to pass it on to their children.
Amazing. And if there was a parting shot for any parents listening, what would you have to say to a parent?
I think we have forgotten that we have our own inner voice, and we don't trust it. That a lot of, when they say parenting does not come with a manual, I agree. There is no manual for parenting. But one of the things that do is we can get tools, we can get equipped, and you can be able to pick those tools to customize it to a situation. But in the process of getting those many, many millions of results and tools, don't lose your voice. Your instinct has a lot. You already have an ingrown wisdom in you. And please trust that wisdom. That's why when we say don't judge your parenting by what you see, judge by what you're doing it today, one of the things, the best gifts you can ever give yourself is to trust yourself in the process.
I love that. That's definitely something I've learned over the past few years. With Olive, everyone's voices was getting in. I was a new parent.
Yeah.
And then Mali and Nova, it's now I fully trust my instincts and what I'm doing as a mom. And yeah, it's taken some time, but I'm finally glad I'm here because I feel like parenting is the one thing that everyone has an opinion on what you're doing, which makes it really difficult.
Yeah, and those, but I know we were supposed to feel, but those opinions push us to a place of perfection.
Yeah.
And we should really, really release the perfection.
Right. Yeah. Thank you so much, Dr. Carol, for joining me today. This has been a great conversation as usual.
Thank you for watching. As we wrap up, we've heard from parents and experts who remind us we're not alone. If this has helped you, help us reach 100 million kids by the year 2028 by donating to Ubongo.org. Every contribution brings us closer to a future where every child has access to the learning they deserve. Until next time, keep laughing, keep learning, and keep playing.